Hello everybody and welcome to the HCW Podcast. This week we are going to be reviewing Friday Night Smackdown, WWE Backlash, WWE Monday Night Raw and AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Stay tuned, it's going to be a good one. Roll intro. Hello everybody and welcome to the show. I am your host Frozzy, as always with my friend and colleague Rate Wrestle. How are you doing, bud?
Existence is pain.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I just realised what I was wearing. I was like, that'll work. I'm alright. I'm tired. Just suddenly, though, literally as soon as we started this, I went,
I came down from finishing work and I was like, yeah, I'm alright. And then I sat down, turned everything on, and then I was like, I've died randomly.
Yeah. Don't worry, 15 hours of Monopoly in a minute will sort us out.
I need to eat first. 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to go get like a ready meal or something.
Oh, I'm not having a ready meal. I'm making burgers. Going all out.
I will have a Rustler's. Same thing.
With some fries to go.
Yeah.
Nice. Fries to go with the dream. But yeah, well, what we'll do is, because we're both hungry and we've both got things to do before we do stream, we'll crack straight on with Friday Night Smackdown if you want to take us through it.
Yeah, so as tradition, I watched Backlash before I watched Friday Night Smackdown, so Smackdown meant nothing to me after this. It meant nothing anyway due to the draft. Like this was just building towards Backlash, then the draft's going to change everything.
Yeah.
So we kicked off with LWO and the Judgment Day in the ring. It was in Puerto Rico. They spoke a load of Spanish. It made no sense to me. It was probably good for the Puerto Ricans. It just made no sense to me. And then they challenged them to a 2-on-2 match later on in the night. And then Dom just couldn't get anything sorted, and then he cheap shotted Dre as he left because Dom's Dom. Good for him. The match we were all looking forward to, the return of the Good Brothers. I like the Good Brothers, I'm not going to lie. They have a decent matchup, and they were fighting the Viking Raiders, so instantly I knew they were going to win. Rated 2.5 stars. It wasn't a squash, but also there wasn't any jeopardy of Good Brothers losing the matchup. Yeah. And they picked up the win with a Magic Killer. Bianca, we had a segment. She's one of the longest reigning champions now. She's never going to lose the title. Damage Control, we mentioned. They were hyping the EO match. What I really liked is that the commentators keep mentioning now that Bayley's going to be on SmackDown, so she's going to be back to a rivalry with Michael Cole, which I'm going to enjoy because Michael Cole's let loose at the moment. Nice. And here comes Liv and Rack, because I think was this the Karens, or was this on Raw? I think it was on Raw, the Karens. Yeah, it was the Karens on Raw, so Liv and Rack were just there, supposedly. As usual, just back up with the Damage Control and the Bianca's got on the storyline. Bloodline's got dissension, surprisingly. There's a bit of dissension in the Bloodline, as usual. So it's going to be... at Backlash, it's Jay, Jimmy, and Solo versus Matt, Kevin, and Sammy. So Jay was basically trying to give Solo a pep talk, going, we need to do this for the tribal chief and stuff like that. And Solo's just like, I'll do my part. And that was it. Just doesn't really want to be bothered with it.
No.
Profits versus Imperium. The Profits won. Squash. Very disappointed.
Of course.
Yeah. Then Cody comes down. So he speaks a bit of Spanish. And do you know what he says in Spanish?
Go on.
What do you want to talk about? I'm so bored of that line now. It's so forced. Like, it's got to the point where it was fun for the first few weeks, but now he says it at the start of every promo, and it's like even the fans are like, yay, Cody. He's going to continue the story.
So he's not finishing it?
No, the story's going to continue. Basically, he said that if he doesn't beat Lesnar, the story won't continue. So the story's going to continue. Then there was a Nakamura bit, and he just said, "Come on!"
Yeah.
Bros were backstage. They just hyped their match with the Usos, Bloodline. Said this is just pretty much naff until we get to past this. Cross versus Nakamura. Nakamura cleanly beat Cross. Pointless rivalry. Made no sense to me. It's already over because they're on separate brands.
Yeah.
What was the point of this?
Don't know.
Corbin's a free agent. That's a thing. And then Grimes is not a free agent because he got signed by SmackDown and he's going to have his first match against Corbin next week.
Cool.
So Grimes is winning, clearly.
Yes.
And then we ended with the Judgment Day versus LWO. So I think it was Rhea and Priest versus Zelina and the other one. I'm going to go with Ray, but it might be Santos.
I think it was Santos.
It was Santos, was it? So that was like a 2 3/4 matchup. I literally Ray won with a roll up. So yeah, clearly.
It was Ray then.
Yeah. So yeah, clearly they won. Then they just started the beatdown on the LWO, and then here comes Bad Bunny to the fucking monster pop I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And then what was cool about it was the LWO attacked the Judgment Day, but Damien was just staring at Bunny while it was happening, so everything was happening, and then they just kind of met eye to eye. Bad Bunny had a WWF jacket on, which was hilarious, which Vince McMahon weren't happy about, according to rumours.
Yeah, when's Vince ever happy?
Yeah. Not good shit, pal. And then they just run off at the end of the heels, and it ends with obviously the big celebration of Bad Bunny's part of the LWO, supposedly.
Yeah, cool.
SmackDown.
Yeah, so we'll move straight into Backlash then.
Yeah, as I said, SmackDown was just there, and I've watched it prior to, as I said, Backlash prior, so it was just never going to be great, and it was the last match before where the drafts take part, so it just made no sense to anything. Backlash. So we started with Bianca versus Io. I rate this 3 1/4 stars. I did really enjoy this. The crowd loved it. They hated Bianca for some reason, but they loved Io. This ended with Bianca winning because Bayley accidentally distracted Io.
Yeah.
So Bayley was grabbing Bianca's hair underneath the referee's nose, but the ref saw it. And then Io's like, what's going on? She's gone for the moonsault, missed it, and then Bianca's hit her finish. So obviously this is planning to either Bayley may turn face or Io may turn face. Yeah. And then Kai's going to be kind of stuck in who's she going to go with. I assume she'll go with Bayley. If Bayley, whoever turns heel, I think she might end up with.
Yeah.
Because the tag match is next week on SmackDown for the tag team titles. So if they win it, obviously she'll stay with Bayley, but if they don't, then dissension. But good opener. I normally don't really mention the backstage segments and pay-per-views, but I like this because Savio Vega was there. Just a really random Savio Vega, but because it's Puerto Rico, he's the hero. It's just like anywhere else, Savio Vega, why is he here?
Yeah.
But it was good seeing Savio backstage. He gives Bad Bunny a kendo stick, which has got the Puerto Rican flag wrapped around it, like an inlay of it. Seth versus Omos. I rated this 2 stars. I couldn't care less about this match.
It had no right to be as good as it was.
Yeah, it was good, but it was also not. Like, if it wasn't a good match, it was better than any normal Omos match, but it was also not a good match in the essence of an Omos match. It was always clean Seth win. I did like that he no-sold the curb stomp by just standing there, not like just on his hands and knees. That's how he stopped the curb stomp.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much it for that match. I found it pretty naff.
Yeah. I just thought it was better than it had any right to be.
Yeah, it's because he's got Omos in. Any match that's decent-ish is better than it has it right to be with Omos in, because Omos is Omos, the best wrestler in world wrestling. Theory versus Lashley versus Reed. I rate this 2 3/4. Theory ended up picking up the win because he Lashley speared Reed, and then Reed he threw Lashley out the ring and pinned Reed. It was your typical Theory getting battered, then the 2 meaty men attacking each other, and then Theory kind of capitalised on it.
Yeah.
Really did nothing for no one, I feel like. Just didn't make Theory strong.
It just got him another defence.
Yeah. Like, it didn't make him strong because he didn't win cleanly. He just kind of not cheated, but like cowardly win.
Yeah, I was always annoyed that this happened this way because the story was all about Lashley and Bronson Reed. And Theory with this title was just sort of thrown in there as like it just devalues the title to me.
Yeah, and it kind of made... Obviously, it helps Lashley that he didn't lose, but if Reed's just lost cleanly, that's all that's happened there. Because Lashley would have pinned him if Theory didn't.
Yeah.
Ripley versus Vega, I put this as 2.25 stars. It was absolute nothingness. Obviously, it's nice when Vega had a chance to fight for the title in Puerto Rico, but the match was just there. Yeah. They tried to play the game, but Ripley was just too dominant to fight Zelina, and I think they kind of didn't work out what they could do to kind of make it a bit more even.
Yeah.
And it just kind of fell by on the wayside. Damien versus Bunny, I rated that 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it via the end. The middle of it became a bit long. So it was a bit annoying that Damien put Bunny through a table, out back, and it was like a high spot. And then Bunny was still in the match, and it's like, hold on, he's not a professional wrestler. Come on, if he takes a massive, massive bump, he's not getting up. But he kicked out and then carried on for another 15 minutes. But by the end of the match, I was invested because they brought Carlito out. Out of all the people I could think of, Carlito got a monster pop, and it was like Carlito's it, and then he bit into the apple, and I was like, yes. And then he got hit, and I was like, oh god, has he lost the apple? Has he swallowed the apple? And he just carried on for like 2 minutes, and then he spat the apple out. I was like, fucking, how can you have had a mouthful running around still, fucking, and then spitting the apple out of that? Good grief. But Bunny ended up picking up the win, which there was no doubt of it. He hit a Canadian destroyer, a clean Canadian destroyer, Puerto Rican destroyer, whatever you want to call it, Bunny destroyer, as Michael Cole called it. And then he celebrated with the LWO. Yeah. Oh, and Savio Vega was involved as well, which was nice. He paid like the monster. He hit a clean, like I know it from Booker T, which is that back kick, which was pretty nice.
Missed by a mile, but it looked good.
Yeah, but it was fun. And, Savio Vega's like 55, so it is what it is. Bloodline versus Sammy, KO and Riddle was my match of the night. I rated it 3 3/4. The story's so good with the Bloodline. Yeah. Just so good with the old Ascension. So Sammy, KO and Riddle worked really well as a tag team. The Bloodline were working well as a tag team, but then they kind of let go. So Jay kept blind tagging in, which Solo weren't happy with. There was at one point Jimmy accidentally hit Jay with a super kick, and then at one point the Solo got really annoyed, and then he started blind tagging in. And there was one point where there was just proper dissension, like Solo was going to fall on Samoan side, and Jay just like he was just going to go for it. In the end, which I thought was cool as well, that Solo showed his dominance and still picked up the win, even though there was so much dissension between what was going on. And at the end, he was still going to Samoan spike Jay, but then Jimmy was kind of like the peacemaker, and then they kind of celebrated together. But you can tell something's going to happen on SmackDown because Roman Reigns is back. Yeah. They'll drag it out slightly a bit more, but I don't mind. I like it. Yeah, it's been a good story.
I enjoy it.
And then Cody versus Lesla. I rated 3 stars. It was all right. Typical Cody on top, Lesnar then being dominant like he was against Cena. He busted himself open the hard way, and people were going like, he couldn't be planned or anything like. He just genuinely headbutted metal.
Yeah,
but like it could have made him bleed. It could have not made him bleed. It's just because because it's Lesnar's head and it's that position, he's going to bleed really badly. I didn't like the end of this, not the actual win. So I like that Cody picked up the win from just rolling him into the Kimura and picking up the win because he had Brock Lesnar. What I didn't like was Cody just fucking ran off. Just ran like he was going like he just ran off like a cowardly fucking head like. He's just run, picked up the win, and then he didn't celebrate. He just ran off backstage really quickly. It was no celebrate. He just ran off like a coward. Basically, you picked up the win, and it just didn't seem good for Cody.
I don't know, because I think if you're in a ring with a pissed off Brock Lesnar, the last thing you want to do is be in that ring.
Yeah, but even after that, Brock Lesnar just sat in the ring. Cody could have celebrated or done something. He just ran off.
Yeah, not in the ring, because Lesnar wouldn't have just sat there if Cody was just in the ring.
Yeah, but even on the entrance ramp, or just at the top of the entrance ramp, or something like that, he just ran off.
Yeah, I don't see that much of a problem with that.
Just hightailed. Complete the story. No, yeah, I didn't like it. But yeah, Backlash was decent. Everyone really loved it, but I think it was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the better pay-per-views they've been putting on, or PLEs as they call them now. Like,
yeah, I was really surprised.
There's been better ones. So the fact that people love this means I'm either wrong or they just like bad stuff.
Yeah, it's weird as well. Like, it's gone down in rating a cage match, but like it was at one point like an 8.5, 8.9. It was like, what have I missed here?
Yeah.
What's mental is that the Seth Rollins Omos match has got better ratings than the Theory and the Rhea Ripley match I'll probably give, but the Theory match as well.
Fair.
It is what it is.
Like it. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It had no right to be as good as it was. So
yeah.
I'm not unhappy with that. But we'll move into Monday Night Raw.
Yes, so we kicked off with the Cody coming down. Now he said that he's kind of conquered the beast. He can now go ahead for this weird tournament they're doing, where I don't get it, because half of it's on SmackDown, with SmackDown wrestlers. I don't get what they're going to do. Like, is the SmackDown wrestler going to stay on Raw if he wins? They must do, surely.
Don't know.
Then why can't Roman enter it? That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're doing like a 12-man tournament, which is 2 triple threats on Raw, 2 triple threats on SmackDown, and then the winners face each. The winners of the Raw ones fight in the main event, and the winners of SmackDown fight in the main event of that show.
Yeah.
So Rollins. So basically, Cody was there to introduce this tournament, which was odd. And then he introduced the first matchup, which was going to be Rollins. So Rollins and him kind of had a glance to each other because they've got a massive roll. It's going to be Rollins versus Priest versus Nakamura. They had a thing on there. So Nakamura versus Rollins versus Priest. I rated 3.25. It was a decent matchup. All the guys looked good. Nakamura took the clean loss, which is a bit weird, have the hype they've had with him. But then again, who was going to take the clean loss if not? Rollins picked up the win after hitting a frog splash on Nakamura, as he had I think he had like some kind of clutch on Damien.
Yeah.
Then there was an Imperium segment minus Gunther backstage, where they were going pretty much just like a hear ye, Gunther's coming next week. Then Sami Zayn and KO were there, and they were going, "Can you shut up? We're trying to speak." And then Imperium were just going, "No." And then they started waving his hands in KO's face, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then this led to a 2-on-2 match later in the night, because he called Gunther, them two there, Gunther's henchmen, which they didn't enjoy. Otis versus Ali, 1-star matchup. Otis got distracted by the distension between Gable and Maxine, and Ali picked up another win. So Ali's picking up all the wins. And the team of Otis and Gable are still in the bin. And then we had the second triple threat, which was Cody versus Finn versus Miz. I rated this 2 3/4. I predicted what was going to happen, which was Lesnar came down and absolutely obliterated Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
And then with this distraction, Finn picked up the win on Miz. And Lesnar did some weird promo, but it ended with him challenging Cody to a fight at Night of Champions. So not a match, a fight. So it's going to be a no-holds-barred match or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a UFC match because that'll be hilarious. Then again,
I'd pay to see
Octagon, they're under the same company now. Do it. Book it, you cowards. Dana versus Rhea. Squash match. And then do you know who saved Dana after the match? Setting up a future title match?
Oh, Natalya.
Natalia's back for summer. That's what happens. Natalya gets an unusual title match in the summer.
Yeah.
And then she'll differ off into the, just the void for another year. Fair enough. Rhea's going to stack up another win. Zoe Stark's making a debut, and I like Zoe Starks because she's proper cocky. She basically challenges Nikki Cross, who's just randomly backstage for a match. She calls her a weirdo, and it's going to be a one-on-one match. Imperium versus Kasami. That's what their team is now. They haven't got a team name, so I've christened them Kasami. 2 3/4. It was just fine.
Yeah.
Good match. Never going to be Imperium's night. Karen's backstage have got a petition they want signed to get them a tag team opportunity. They speak to the Way, so the Way are back, which I enjoy that. The team of Gargano, Candice, Indy, and Dexter. So they're doing something with them. I like their funny bits backstage. The Way basically say, no, we're not going to sign this. Why would we sign this? And it's just continuation of the Karens getting what the Karens want. Starks versus Nikki. 1 3/4. It was an impressive debut for Starks, but it was just a squash match. And she's got a really good finisher. She's got the Guevara finish, that flipping into the knee. Right. It's like a GTS, but it's a flip into the knee. She hits it really strong, though. And she just dominated, so they're pushing her, which is good, because she's really good in the ring.
Yeah.
Rhea and Dom are backstage. And then Woods comes over and basically just mocks Dominic. And this ends up with Woods and Dominic having a match because Rhea accepted the match for Dom.
Of course.
Good for him, yeah. Trish is still around. She's handing missing posters around for Becky Lynch because she's disappeared off the face of the planet. She's basically saying, where is she and so forth. Her music plays, Becky's. Nowhere to be seen. Trish calls everyone dumb fucks, basically. And then, obviously, Becky's music plays again. And then Becky Lynch is there. And she takes out Trish. And now we're going to have that at Night of Champions mission.
Yeah.
So this follows by Dom versus Xavier, 2.5 stars. Dominic cheated to win because of Mammy pulling Xavier out the way. No, the other way around. Mammy pulling Dom out the way, so Xavier hit like an elbow drop and nothingness. It was fine. Xavier singles run.
Gives Dom another win, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Kofi's dead. I don't know where's Kofi. I'm guessing he's injured, but I've never paid attention. And guess what's happening? Indus Shore is happening. Indus Shore is happening. Via, Sangha, Jinder Mahal, they're going to be big on the main roster. I literally read Vikings 2.0 on Raw.
Yeah.
They'll have a good run for the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then they'll get beat cleanly every week.
Uh-huh. I'd be surprised if they last that long.
Yeah. Don't care. Naka and Miz are backstage. So Miz last week was trying to get Naka on board. And then Nakamura was going like, I lost. And then, but Miz was going like, us two together, we could be unstoppable. Mizkay. Which I like that name. And then Nakamura goes, yeah, so we can do it next week. 1-on-1. And then he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Miz, so yeah, there's going to be Naka versus Miz next week. The Karens are still signing the position. And then what I really liked about this is Liv and Raquel went, why don't you just come up to us and challenge us for the titles? And then the Karens went, well, we're planning on challenging Damage Control because you won't be champions next week. And I really like that burn. Sick burn, bro.
Nice.
And then Cody. So that Dom versus Xavier was the main event. No, it wasn't. No, yeah, I can see I put halfway through here. I just realised it was like, I can't see another match. No, yeah, Cody says he's going to fight Brock Lesnar. And then we have Finn and Seth for the main event. I wrote this 3 stars. So
I was going to say, How can you miss the main event here?
It's because I wrote it on the same line because the Cody thing didn't happen. I was like, why haven't I written it? Yeah, so Finn versus Seth, I rated it 3 stars. So I like the triple threat more. But it was still a good match. It was a bit anticlimactic because I expected Seth to win. And there was no shenanigans. I really wanted the rumour of the 4th member happening in the Judgment Day male member. And then that costing Seth. Yeah. But yeah, it was just Seth clean win.
Yeah, which is the right way to go for me.
Yeah. It's just... do you know when you don't want someone... I want Seth to win the title, but I also don't want it to be obvious that he's going to win the title.
Yeah.
But I can't see anyone on SmackDown winning. Like Edge winning. Unless Edge has another heel run and goes like the Big Show and has 50 different face to heel turns. Which is what's happening at the moment. because he's a face at the moment, so he can't turn heel again, and I don't want him to win the title as a face.
Edge will be done soon.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think
like,
it's worth giving him the title.
whose else is in there? Cross, no. AJ Styles would be. I'd love AJ Styles to win the title, but I can't see it happening.
Same, I can't see it happening.
They'd have to move the whole OC over, which would be pointless in itself again. Yeah, Seth's winning, isn't he? Yeah. Like, there's no one else that can win that I can think of.
There's no one else that should win neither.
Yeah. It is what it is. Dynamite!
Yeah, let's get straight into it.
Dynamite was good. Just straight off the bat, I knew it was going to be because of the matches. Claudio versus Phoenix. I didn't know what a double Jeopardy match was until one of the commentators explained it. So if Claudio won, his team would face the Lucha Bros for the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. If Phoenix won, he would face Claudio for the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship. Rated this 3.25 stars. Nice to see Claudio on an actual match, and it was a good match. Phoenix always puts on good matches. Claudio puts on good matches, and he ended up winning with his powerbomb finish.
Yeah.
And then, do you know who appeared out of nowhere backstage?
No.
Miro.
Oh, yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, Miro. He says something to Renee, and then he goes into Tony Khan's office. Then there was an MJF package, which he was hyping. It was just a vignette package hyping the Fatal 4-Way. He said they're like the Beatles. So let me try and figure out who they said. So Sammy Guevara is the dumb one, so he's like Ringo Starr. Jungle Boy's less charismatic, so he's like George Harrison. John Lennon is like Darby Allin because he's mental. And then obviously MJF's like the star of the show, so he's Paul McCartney. It was alright.
Cool.
FDR come down, and they want to speak to Mark Briscoe, but then here comes the JJ gang, I've called them, the Jeff Jarrett gang. And then FDR says you're using Mark Briscoe to get to the titles. And then Briscoe comes down and he says, I'm going to be the special guest referee for the championship match, which is fair enough. And then the Briscoe, the JJ gang attacks, and it ends up with Mark Briscoe whiskey bottle he brought down getting sprayed in Dax's eyes, and then Dax accidentally pile drives Mark Briscoe.
How do you
because he's blinded.
Pile drive?
Because he's blinded. So instead of you can't see, so he just piles someone.
Stupid.
He pile drives him. He's blind.
Makes no sense. Stupid.
He couldn't see what was happening, so he's blind, so he pile drove him.
Makes no sense. Stupid.
He couldn't see, so he pile drove him.
The whole thing that if he's blind, you do not put someone in a pile driver and pile drive them. I'm sorry, you don't.
No, to be fair, he got thrown into the pile driver position, so he was already in it. It wasn't. I think one of the JJ put him in the pile driver position for Dax, and then Dax hit it because he thought it was one of the JJ. He thought it was the other FTR person helping him.
No, doesn't make sense. Stupid.
Anything with Jeff Jarrett in his gold.
Anything. Apart from this, because it's stupid.
Shut up, Slapnuts. Next up, we had Jericho. I'm liking this Jericho once again because he keeps saying that So obviously Cole absolutely wailed on him last week because he wailed on them the other week and beat up Britt Baker. Jericho keeps saying that he got attacked unprovoked. This sort of provoked attack. Jericho now has a legal document that says that Adam Cole can't be in every time Jericho's in the arena. Adam Cole's banned. But then here comes Roderick Strong, and he says, "Well, you haven't had me banned from the arena, so next week it's going to be Roderick Strong versus Jericho." And then Jericho says, "Well, you're stupid because I've still got the Jazz Society around." And then obviously they play the typical face thing. Well, you've got a legal document, so have I. So the Jazz Society's banned. So that's going to be a good match. Clean Jericho versus Strong.
Yeah, we'll see how clean it is.
It's going to be clean-ish because the only way Jericho can win is if it's got Audrey Hepburn in it and she just looks at Jericho hitting Strong with the bat and then just kind of goes,
nah.
After the hit, because then again, it's the typical. Fine, what happened after that? So Cole banned Strong, false count anywhere. Then do you know who else appeared?
I feel like I do, but I can't remember.
Thunder Rosa. She's back.
Yes.
She goes in TK's office.
Everyone's going in TK's office.
And then it goes to break, comes back, and then TK announces there's going to be a huge announcement next week. It's the draft. It's the split. It's going to be the split collision, whatever. It's going to be two different brands. That's the reason Thunder Rosa and Miro have appeared, I'm guessing. I'm guessing they've got to have a draft.
Well, yeah, I mean, they must do, but...
Which is going to keep... CM Punk's going to be on Collision, I know that. And then obviously the Elite's going to be on the other show.
And they're just leaving all that money on the table.
Yes. And then also, that means another show I've got to fucking review, which means less time I can watch other wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, I like watching other wrestling, and now it's just going to be another night where I can't watch like other shows.
Yeah.
Oh. My fucking rewards are just going to be AEW and WWE because I won't have time. Yeah. Cassidy versus Garcia, I read it 3 stars. It was a good matchup. It was the typical Cassidy getting beat down, but then picking up the win with a roll-up. Cassidy is forever champion. But I like his promos afterwards because he gets Renee afterwards each time, and then Renee goes, "How's it going?" And Cassidy's, "I'm so tired. Just leave me alone. So tired. Just I don't want any more matches."
Yeah. I don't want him to be champion anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know who's going to win it.
It's just like every week he defends it, it loses more and more prestige.
Yeah, and talking that, I know his next challenger, which we'll get there in a sec. Christian's downstage. He just basically starts saying that Wardlow's got daddy issues. Obviously, it's a bit close to home because Wardlow's dad died. I don't remember if it was when he was younger. Or I think it was when he was younger he died from cancer. That was the story with Samoa Joe, wasn't it, as well? I can't remember if it was recent. Then he said also Arn Anderson, has latched onto you. He said that his son was the next thing, but he's not spoke to his son in ages, if you noticed, on wrestling. And I was like, that is true. He doesn't mention his son anymore. The son that he was supposed to help, he's just latched onto Wardlow. And that was the end of that.
Fair.
Hart versus Anna Jay was better than I expected. Julia Hart, I rated 2 3/4. It was your typical, let's get as much weapon hits in as we get along. Hart picked up the win, which is the first time I've ever actually seen her win a match. That's not even a joke. 4 matches I've seen, she lost all 4 of them. She's champ, and she picked up the win with the Brutalizer, which is Pac's finish, variation of it. We had the Hobb versus the Best Friends, or the Best Amigos, because Bandito's involved. That was also a 2 3/4 match. Obviously, it was always going to be Hobb were going to win the House of Black. They picked up the win from the Dante's Inferno. Decent match. I like the match because of also they have it a lot old school wrestling where the crowd is darkened out, so it's just the light in the ring. So it's not like a Fiend match where it's a red light; it's just a normal spotlight. And then they have weird lights going around the ring and stuff like that. So it looks nice.
Yeah.
And then Cassidy's lying motionless backstage because Carl Fletcher's attacked him. So Carl Fletcher's going to face Cassidy next week and obviously lose. Because there's no reason for Carl Fletcher to win that title.
He's got a match on Rampage as well, hasn't he, Carl Fletcher? Yeah,
it's the usual shit of a wrestler is having a major match on Dynamite, so they'll have a squash match on Rampage.
Yeah.
News is as well that Rampage is going to turn into Heat. So it's going to be like their version of Heat. So just typical squash matches.
Fair.
And then we had Mox versus Mega. Match of the night, obviously. Always a good match between these two. 3/4 stars. So it started 3 3/4 stars, just to throw it out there. It started with Kenny coming down to the ring because Mox was already there. Mox attacks him halfway down the entrance. Then the BCC attack him. Daniel Bryan stays on commentary, but the other two attack him. Then the Young Bucks attack the Claudio and thing, and there's a bit of a brawl there. Claudio and stuff. Nick dies off the stage. They kind of disappear, which is good because I didn't want to see them anymore. Young Bucks, I like Young Buck matches, but they don't suit this storyline at all because the BCC are legit and they're trying to make it like carny, and it's a bit weird.
Yeah, no, just get the Young Bucks off TV, please.
So this ended up in the ring for the cage match. Really good, back and forth, blood everywhere as usual with Moxley. Did you see the gift of Kenny Omega pushing Moxley through the cage and how he landed? Oh! His leg gets caught between the cage and the fucking ring, and it kind of jolts, and it was like, how? Yeah. How is your leg still fine? It was just fine.
Didn't look good though, did it?
Did not look good, but it was awful. Muzza ruined the finish of this accidentally for me because he's a dickhead. So Muzza's got a picture of Callis with a like a no, like no smoke in that red with the line through its symbol. Yeah. So I was instantly like, Callis must have done something.
Yeah.
And then obviously what happened was Kenny Omega. What happened was Moxley jumped the cameraman for some reason, had a screwdriver on him. Then he's about to stab Omega. Callis grabs the screwdriver off Moxley. Moxley is about to get one wing angeled by Callis, and then Callis stabs him in the face with the screwdriver.
Yeah.
And then Moxley just full on pins him. I thought Moxley might hit him with a move, but I think because he got stabbed in the face, they did the right thing.
Yeah.
Getting stabbed in the face with a screwdriver, I'd probably get pinned, Not the typical, we probably need to do another move. So I like this ending, and I like that they've put Callis with the BCC. Well, he's technically not with them yet, but
he's going to be, though.
Yeah, and it works because he's, like, a good talker, and they need it, because Daniel Bryan's fine, but they need, like a William Regal, like a good talker on the mic, and then it also sets up the rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, as well, this makes Omega and Moxley 4-0 to Moxley? 3-0
Yeah, Moxley loves a good Omega match.
He's never lost to him.
He's definitely not lost to him. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 though. So with the either way, I do like it.
He must have lost to him. Didn't he lose that exploding barbed wire match?
John Moxley beat Kenny Omega at Full Gear. Kenny Omega beat John Moxley at Winter is Coming.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega. Oh no, yeah. Kenny Omega. Oh no, it's 2-2. It's 2-2. Yeah, Kenny Omega has won it. Yeah, he beat him at Winter is Coming to win the title.
Yeah.
And then he beat him at the barbed wire match.
So
it's 2-2.
For some reason, I had in my head that Omega had never beat him, and then I actually thought about it, and I was like,
I'm glad I looked this up, because we would have looked like dickheads.
The more I thought about it, I was like, actually, that exploding barbed wire match, I'm sure Omega won it, because Kingston tried to cover Moxley, and then the bang that didn't happen happened. Which completely ruined that match.
It was a good match until then. That's what's sad. But Moxley versus Omega are really good matches. This one, once again, was a really good match. Good Dynamite, honestly. Overall, good Dynamite. The pile drive segment was probably my best part. Made more sense than anything I've ever seen in wrestling.
Get a grip.
No. Slap nuts.
On that end, we are going to cut the podcast short there because I can't take this nonsense anymore. But no, as always, thank you for reviewing the Wrestling Rate. You can like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We appreciate all the follows, subscribers, comments, likes, everything that we get from you guys. Follow us at the HCW Show on Twitter, the HCW Show on Twitch, HCW Show on Instagram. We have the Facebook page now as well, so follow us on there at the HCW Show as well. But yeah, individual Twitter handles are here for me and over there for Rate somewhere. And yeah, if you like what we're doing, let us know. If you don't like what we're doing, let us know. We won't change a thing. But yeah, keep liking and subscribing, and we'll keep putting out the content. So from me, it is goodbye.
Also, there's a GM mode. That's happening.
Oh, yes, between all three.
And it's weekly as well. DP's already scheduled the next video. It's happening. Oh, no, I meant your GM videos.
Mine and DP's, yeah.
Yeah,
so, they'll be getting released on a Sunday, I believe.
Yeah, I will appear in 12 weeks' time.
Yeah, we'll record him before then, don't worry. But
but you won't see me for 12 weeks on GM mode.
You guys will not see Rate Wrestle on GM mode for at least 12 weeks. But yes,
so if you want to watch it then.
Yeah, me and DP have got the series. It's coming out. DP is working on the videos. They are scheduled in. They are in for Sundays. So if you enjoy them...
first one's already out, yeah.
Yeah, first one's out. It'll probably be in this video somewhere at the end. But yeah, if you like them, well, the other one's coming. So keep an eye out for it, and they'll be coming weekly after that. But yeah, from me, it is goodbye. And from Rate...
See you all, slapnuts!
See you on the next one.